Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Last night's the Raw after WrestleMania, which to me honestly is like day one of on the road to WrestleMania 34. It is to set the focus for what is going to be going down in the future for Monday Night Raw as well as the WWE. To me, honestly, I think it's cool that they put SmackDown in Orlando so they can have their own show there. Honestly, in my mind, I think I've already made my mind up that next year when I go to New Orleans, I don't think I'm going to go to SmackDown. I think that, going to Raw, and that's enough for me. Even if I'm outvoted and everybody else stays, I think I'll go home, but that's just me. But, next week, Vince McMahon says there's going to be a Raw shakeup, where basically they're going to be moving some superstars around from Raw to SmackDown, and twisting things up. We've heard about them doing a draft for a while. It doesn't sound like they're going to be doing a draft because honestly, they know that when they say the WWE draft, where they draft superstars from Raw to SmackDown, that's a gimmick that has worked to bring in viewers and to bring in ratings, and Vince didn't call it that. So I'm hoping that honestly, maybe they just. I know what I want them to do, and I definitely know what I don't want them to do. And I think it'd be more easy for me to describe what I don't want to see. And to me, honestly, is that where they have matches of Raw versus SmackDown guys, and then whoever wins the match gets the draft pick, and then they put this on the screen. They put the superstars, and they just like randomly scroll through the superstars over and over until boom, it automatically lands on one, and they already have the graphic up where John Cena drafted to SmackDown. The shit like that we've seen on Raw in the past for the drafts. I don't like that. I can tell you that if you go back to the second annual draft, where they had the GMs, I believe it was Bischoff and Heyman, I think it was. They had all the names on ping pong balls, and they had them inside of the thing, and they would spin them around. I don't think I want to see that either. I would like to see Bryan and Kurt Angle, basically make picks throughout the night where they try to steal somebody off the opposing roster. Hopefully they can do it where they do have matches, and they're matches that are sort of, I don't want to say dream matches, because you want to say dream matches for WrestleMania, but I know that the guys have been separated since July is when they did the draft right before SummerSlam. So I think that there's a lot of guys that we haven't seen on the same shows or in the ring together, doing a match like Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler. There are matches that do sound very appealing that are Raw versus SmackDown-ish, and whoever wins the match, gets the pick. That all the matches don't have to be really, boom, here it is. When it comes down to it, right off my mind, when Kurt Angle was named the GM of Raw last night, I immediately thought of, like, if he doesn't pick American Alpha to come to his brand, I mean, like, people thought that he was going to be the manager or, part of their stable. I don't think he has to come out there with them, but, just to, realize that these guys are, well, Gable won a gold medal, right? I don't think he won a medal, but he was in the Olympics, so I can call him an Olympian wrestler, I think. To bring him in and realize that he has a shitload of talent, and maybe Angle, because they're baby faces, could sort of mentor him and talk to him and sort of add that to American Alpha. I think that'd be fucking awesome. I can tell right now that when they were in NXT, it seemed like Gable was the fucking man, and now that they're on the main roster, maybe it's because Vince sees Jordan and his size, that Jordan seems like he's getting more of the spotlight now on the main roster. But I would love to see him jump over to Raw. They just dropped the SmackDown titles. They haven't got a rematch yet. So that might be something that keeps them in the fold. But then again, it might be that they just needed them to drop the championships because they needed them, and because they didn't even get a match on Mania. They didn't even get a pre-show match or anything. So maybe they are just going in a different direction with that thing. So as of right now, I would think that the guys that have championships are going to be held where they are, because the belts they have are named after the shows they have, and I don't think they want to mess up the lineage of the titles, to where they have to describe that years on down the road that just, basically they had the draft and the Raw champions became the SmackDown champions and SmackDown champions became the Raw champions. I think they sort of, for the most part, keep title lineages solid, and they don't want to just really screw that up. But it would be a cool moment to see, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, switch brands. I don't really want to see Randy on Raw, but it is something that honestly could happen, to make things fun. Because, if Brock's going to be the champion, I don't think Brock's going to lose the championship at the next pay-per-view. And what I'm scared about is that he might fight at this next pay-per-view at Payback, and then we don't see him again until SummerSlam. And I remember the year that he was champion, and Seth Rollins had the Money in the Bank. I was honestly getting mad about the fact that Rollins didn't have a championship to cash in on. Here he is carrying around the Money in the Bank, and it's basically like nothing. They should have been using that like it was the championship, and we're having him, have matches where he had to put it on the line, and treat that like it was the title, because the title was nowhere to be seen. It was sitting in a cabin up there in Canada, with Brock, and Brock wasn't showing up because he didn't have to. I'm trying to think of other guys that I would like to switch brands. I don't think that the Randy and Bray thing is done. So although I think that it would be cool if Bray came, hopefully now they can bring AJ back to Raw. People have been going bananas over the whole deal with the club. Putting them back together, AJ, Anderson, and Gallows, would be pretty freaking cool. People have been wondering, about Balor being a part of the club as well. I think that they have Balor Club and the club, which are two things that sound alike, but I honestly think that Finn Balor, because of how big they want to make him a star, they can talk about their friendship that people will know about, and we've seen them throw up 2 sweets and things when they've crossed paths on the pay-per-views, but I think that they'll keep them separate. I think that maybe someday, but definitely not anytime soon. But I think having AJ with the club on Monday Night Raw would be fun. It definitely would bring some 6-man tags to main event Monday Night Raw, and they love doing those. And when Gallows and Anderson were with AJ, the club seemed like they meant more. It took them a long time to win those tag titles. But, when seeing Machine Gun Carl Anderson wrestle against John Cena, I'll be honest, from a guy that was a fan of his from Talking Shop, and things like that, that was a pretty fucking cool moment. And knowing how big of a fan he is, you could tell that he was having a time of his life. They were on Cheap Heat with the WrestleMania Radio Row, and they talked about how Cena was walking to the ring one day, and Anderson leaned into Gallows and said, that's pretty fucking cool, or this is pretty fucking cool. And it was picked up on TV, and you could hear it and you could see it. I thought that was pretty awesome, but I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't mind seeing Brock move. I don't really want Randy to come to Raw, though. I don't think that one's going to happen. American Alpha coming to Raw, to me, is probably one of the biggest locks. Hopefully, did they just become... No, who won? Fuck. I going to say that it would be cool if they split up Sheamus and Cesaro. But I think they just won the match to become number 1 contenders. I don't think I was paying attention during that one. Or maybe I was watching the baseball game between the Rangers and the Indians, which was a pretty fucking good game. But we'll talk about more about this, because I'm sure stuff will get leaked and people will be making rumors throughout the week. So I'm really looking forward to it. It really gives me a kick in the pants to really watch Raw next week. I'm hoping that that's not a Raw that's overseas. Hopefully they're not that dumb. I know they go on the European tour after WrestleMania, but I don't know if they do it right away. That's going to be pretty fucking stupid if all these things get leaked before we can even watch it. Damn. I didn't think about that.